save lives, and your reward for saving lives is getting fired. What kind of message is that sending the City of Harford employees?
These 20 grieving family members wish they had somebody step up and be a whistleblower.
Brother filed the OSHA complaint. He was fired from the City of Harford. You would think the City of Harford would be grateful when employees report known hazards, reported hazards that save Connecticut citizens' lives. I'm sorry, you would be wrong. If you report to OSHA and the City of Harford is fine, you will be fired.
On November 13, 2013, Curtis sent me a series of pictures from the City of Harford of dangerous life-threatening hazards. 2 days later, I filed an OSHA complaint for my brother on November 15, 2013 at 5:12 p.m. 3 days later, OSHA immediately investigated the allegations. On January 9, 2014, OSHA was complete with their findings and fined the City of Harford thousands of dollars because of these violations. Curtis started to immediately face retaliation. From January 9, 2014 to August 2015, Curtis filed repeated complaints with the Labor Board and OSHA about the retaliation from the City of Harford. These complaints fell on deaf ears.
Although we have laws, there's no doubt about that. But if you belong to the vulnerable class, you have no right. Just try to access justice system that's solely reserved for lawyers. I call this in my book, Nevertheless She Persisted, Judicial Abuse Towards the Voiceless American. I call this legal professional privilege, LPP, which is akin to white privilege, of course. This is where the legal professionals believe they are the only ones who allow access to the court. How dare you impoverish, untrained, disabled, African-American male believe you have constitutional rights? The people who have a legal duty to enforce workers' rights, ADA rights, civil rights, willfully block access to the court. An example of Chief Judge Janet C. Hall preys on the lack of capacity impoverished people with disabilities. When I wrote a reasonable accommodation for the court to stop playing musical chairs with my brother's case, moving the case where all the litigants are in Hartford, where the City of Hartford and the employees who can testify on my brother's behalf are literally steps away from the Hartford District Court. I mean, it's right next door. It's the City of Harford Employee Building, the City of Harford Library, the District Court. It's not funny. But this is the absurdity that poor people have to deal with. Despite all the litigants and all the testimony and all the employees and all the witnesses are in Hartford. Move the case to New Haven. So I write a reasonable accommodation request for the case to be moved back to Hartford, where all the litigants are from. You know, it sounds pretty reasonable, what do you think? Not to her. This is what I call in my book. She moved the case to New Haven, and she turned down my reasonable accommodation request. And guess what? Now the case is in Bridgeport. It would be laughable if it wasn't true. Can you imagine if you live in Hartford and your voting booth was in Bridgeport? Oh, don't look at the voting booth that you passing right now, right next to you. That one is not for you. See, that's for the people that can afford a lawyer to access that courthouse. Yours is now in Bridgeport. Now take the highway. What you say? You can't afford a car? You don't have a car because you're poor? Oh, well, this buses. Well, yes, you got to transfer 8 times. This is justice in America in 2018. Seriously, what happens to people who are impoverished who cannot afford to drive to Bridgeport? Now the court would lie and say, oh, we're going to provide accommodations. How difficult is it for me to get witnesses to Bridgeport? I mean, do they think? Chief Judge Janet C. Hall denied my reasonable accommodation request by saying, federal courts do not have to obey the American with Disabilities Act. You can pick and choose what disabled person gets accommodations, because I'm pretty sure if somebody in a wheelchair can't access the court, you would put a ramp. So after a year of trying to talk to OSHA and the Labor Department, you can see on page 11 the emails back and forth, I filed a complaint, a federal complaint. To this day, my brother had no access to the justice system. The complaint is still in the complaint stage of the case. Why? Judicial abuse or due process suppression. Chief Judge Janet C. Hall denied him basic rights. And on January the 12th, 2018, the Second Circuit, on a petition I wrote, Chief Judge Janet C. Hall grossly abused her discretion. In plain English, she broke the law. They further went on and said, Chief Judge Janet C. Hall acted as the defense counsel. She didn't even bother serving the complaint to the defendant. The Second Circuit declared Chief Janet Hall failed to follow basic civil rules of procedures, failed to accept all facts as true in the complaint stage of the case, and abused her discretion. It is very clear by the Second Circuit order, Judge Janet C. Hall preyed on Hardaway's lack of economic resources and lack of capacity due to his disability. I wrote to Chief Judge Janet C. Hall. I told her judicial abuse was preventing my brother to file another OSHA complaint with his new job. I told her blood would be on her hands when a white baby with blue eyes died due to judicial abuse. On February the 9th, 2008, a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes died in the way I predicted in Windsor, Connecticut. My brother gave his 2 weeks notice. I cannot watch another death. Why do we care more about Connecticut residents' lives than the people who are paid to care? I've been warning the government for years. I wrote to Senator Blumenthal on December the 26th, 2017. I warned him about Windsor sanitation. I told him my brother could not report to OSHA because OSHA failed to protect him, that he was fired from his last job when he tried to do his job. Senator Blumenthal never got back to me.